We're at the rest stop in Oklahoma. Just come out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, and we've stopped at this rest stop because back here they have a picture of the Trail of Tears and also the person that we've come to visit, and that is Sequoyah. Sequoyah was the Cherokee leader that invented the written word for the Cherokee Nation. And so we're going to go from here over to visit his cabin in Sequoyah. By the way, this is Sequoyah County, Oklahoma, and it was named after him, as though the big redwood trees, the sequoias in California, was also named after him. So let's go in and see what we can find out about Sequoyah, the Cherokee leader. Now this is the first information center after you come out of Fort Smith, Arkansas on Highway 40 into Oklahoma. Now this beautiful painting on the wall here is of the Trail of Tears. And it's showing the relocation of the Indians in the east to the Oklahoma territories. Now we're going to turn back over here. Now this is Sequoyah. I think he probably did more for the Cherokee Nation than all the chiefs combined, because he devised a written language for the Cherokees. And what this did was it gave them a great advantage over the other tribes that didn't have a written language, and it put them on a more equal footing with the white man. Sequoyah was half white and half Cherokee. You can sort of tell by looking. Now this is a miniature cabin. It's exactly like the real one that Sequoyah lives in. And I don't know who did this, but they done an excellent job. Now when we leave here, we're going to his real cabin. And the way you get there is off of Interstate 40 in Sallisaw, Oklahoma. Take Highway 49 north. Go 4 or 5 miles up there, and then you'll come to Oklahoma Highway 101. You take a right or go east on it for a few miles, and then when you'll come to a big curve to the left, and when you do that, you start looking for this sign that you see right up here on the right. And the sign says Sequoias Cabin, and you take a right here. Now Sequoyah was born in Tennessee sometime around 1770. He did venture on down into Alabama for a while, and his daddy was named Nathaniel Gist. Now he, as I said, he was a white man, and his mother was a Cherokee. I won't even attempt to pronounce her name. But now Sequoyah's given name was George Gist. But now the Indians gave him the name Sequoyah. He used George Gist when he was dealing with the white people, and Sequoyah when he was dealing with the Cherokee. We're at the entrance of the park now. Now this place is the exact location of the cabin. They didn't move it or relocate it anywhere. This is where he actually lived in it. And for the hill, there's still a spring there that's being used today that he used in the 1800s. Now this just says that it was made a historical landmark in 1966. It was put on the National Registry. Now this little building here on the left, it looks like a cabin. I guess it is, but it's not his. It's the information center. His cabin is straight ahead down this walk, and it's now housed in a block building, and they did that, of course, to preserve it. Now Sequoiah's father left his family when he was very young, and the thing is, he always walked with a limp, and he was sort of made fun of for it. They say that it happened during a hunting accident when he was a young man. Now this cabin here, he built it in 1829 when he come to Oklahoma, and he did it with his own hands. Now in the War of 1812, Sequoyah and 200 other Cherokees enlisted under Andrew Jackson to help fight the Creeks in Alabama, who were fighting for the British. Now here we are inside the building. Now Sequoyah couldn't read or write, and he was an uneducated man. Now in this picture right here, you can see an addition, if you look at the roof, that the Thomas Blair family added on. Now Sequoyah's widow, Sally, sold her house and place here in 1855, about 11 years after Sequoyah's death. And what they done was, they just restored and housed in this block building here the part of the cabin that Sequoyah lived in. They took the other part that the Blairs had added on, and they put it in the information center, the little cabin we saw coming in. This was while they was building the block building around it. Now it's just a small one-room cabin. It does have little hand stairs here that goes up into the loft. Now the spinning wheel went with the house when Sally sold it to the Blairs. And Sequoyah made every bit of this spinning wheel here. And the Blairs kept this thing in their family for 136 years till a great-granddaughter allowed the museum here to have it. Now Sequoyah, during the War of 1812, he saw the soldiers able to read words from home and was able to send words back to their families, which the Cherokee couldn't do. After that, he devoted his time and energy into putting the Cherokee language on paper. And this is the way it looks. Amazingly, it took him 12 years to perfect it. Now, everyone thought he was crazy for devoting so much time to it, even his own family. Now, he moved from the east, first to Arkansas, and then on to Oklahoma here. He moved to Arkansas first, and he was one of the first Cherokees to move west. Now, with the help of his daughter, he demonstrated to the tribal leaders his written language. They accepted it immediately. And within months, the Cherokees were able to read and write in their own language. They could learn it anywhere from 1 to 2 months. Now, this is a block used by Indian women to pound corn into meal. This is a part of they used one chimney, the Blairs did, but they put the fireplace on both sides. Now, this is telling of the 20 Years' War between the two factions of the Cherokees. One on one side, the early Cherokees that came first to Oklahoma, and then later on, during the Trail of Tears, those that were forced to leave come. And they had lots of trouble between the two factions. And during the Civil War, they had trouble again because of the division between the North and South. And some of the Cherokees wanted to remain neutral, and others wanted to fight for the Confederacy. Now, when Sequoyah was in his 80s, he had heard about a Cherokee tribe that had divided off and gone to Mexico. So he goes down there looking for them. And that's where he died. He tried to get them to come back to Oklahoma, and they wouldn't come, and nobody knows where his grave is there. That was the Klan's tribe. If you're a Cherokee, you belong to one of those 7 clans. Now, these are books, health pamphlets, and, well, even the New Testament that's been translated from English into Cherokee. Now, the Cherokees, once they got their own language, and they were the only Indian tribes to have their own language. Once they did that, they started printing, bringing in printing presses, and they would take English newspapers and translate it into Cherokee and then send that out. And the Cherokee had just as much information as the rest of the world, or the white people did. This is one of the early printing presses. Sequoyah was actually given a small amount of money for what he did for the Cherokee Nation, And when he passed away, his wife received that little pension for the rest of her life. Now this is a bust of Sequoyah, and the chairs on each side of it are from the 1800s. They were council chairs that was used by the Cherokee Nation. This is a bust of Sequoyah thinking and contemplating the written language.